Good. All right. Well, everyone, welcome to the May 7th, 2025 Park Cultural Recreation Board meeting. I'm calling it to order, stamp. And we'll do roll call. It looks like we don't have any of our team members online, so we're all person. So Jenny, if you want to start introductions.
I'm Jenny Wilson. I'm a senior parks planner.
Hi, Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture and Recreation.
I'm Aaron Wheeler, Board Chair.
Annette Roth.
Hillary Dykstra.
Michelle Gibson.
Lori Davies, Vice Chair.
Bill Fosbury.
Byron Shorsman, Recreation Coordinator of Athletics and Fields.
Awesome. Great. Well, looks like we're all here. And so if Bill is gracious enough to do the land acknowledgement for us, so.
Well, thank you, Chair. We, the city of Lacey, are on the ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually Indian Tribe and the Squaxin Island Tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still here. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek as the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial, and their role today in taking care of these lands in perpetuity. We recognize and have the responsibility to call attention to the histories of dispossession, forced removal, and abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We recommend that community members read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854.
Thank you, Bill. Moving on to approvals of the agenda and meeting minutes. Do I get a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And then now the approval of the March 5th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
All right. A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. All right, looks like there is no public comment online or written today, so we can move past that piece to it. Moving on to item number 6, which is the introduction of each item and speaker. So if our youth sports program update from Brian Shorsman.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. I said it earlier, but Byron Shorsman, Recreation Coordinator for Youth Sports. Been in this position now for just a little over a year. So I was hired December 2023. And so right now, this is my first Parks Board presentation to everybody. Kind of a chance to give you a report card of my first year, if you will. So.
Oh, do we get to evaluate you then?
So given that, I figured we'd just start off with a review of last year, give you some of the numbers. We ran 241 total programs. We actually had 2 leagues that we ran with Lacey Youth Basketball and our little Lacey Baseball and T-Ball League. Both of those had 4 divisions each. Total registrations between all of our programs, 2,405, and then our net revenue was just over 177,000 there last year. So I'm actually very proud of my first year. I felt like it really went well. We ended up bringing in a couple more programs than we did last year, and I'm hoping that we can kind of keep that momentum moving forward. So some of the highlights I mentioned, the programs that we brought, we were able to get our 6th grade division for the first time. So first year of that for our basketball league. We introduced a new Sports Sprouts class. Sports Sprouts, for those of you who don't know, is our youth sports program for ages 3 to 6 years old. So really base level introduction. But as you can see, we were able to get some golf in there this year, which was super.
How are those 3-year-olds at golfing?
At first it was rough, but after 5 weeks, I actually had several of the kids who were able to get that ball right up in the air and play a few holes. It was pretty fun. And then we did the 17 summer camps as well between the RAC and then Rainier Vista. kind of just brief overview of everything that we're offering right now. Skyhawk Sports is a big one for us. They do a plethora of different programs. We've got, I think right now we're about to start another pickleball session with them. Flag football starts on Monday, so a little bit of everything with them. Of course, I mentioned the Sports Sprouts program. We've also got some cool, unique ones with archery, tag, and floorball. And then cross country is one that I really like to highlight. Our cross country instructor is a former All-American from the University of Washington several years ago. So she's been out there and she's been incredible with the kids. And then gymnastics, tennis, and taekwondo, and then of course the leagues that I mentioned earlier. Looking forward to what we've got going on as we transition from spring into the summer. We've got the Little Lacey Baseball and T-Ball League coming up here soon. Looks like right now, I just checked registrations today. They're starting to fill up fast, so it should be another busy season out there. This one's cool. We just entered this program. It's gonna come in this summer. It's Learn to Row camps with the Olympia Area Rowing Club. It's gonna be mainly middle school and high school students for now, but we're hoping to maybe expand that out in the future. Black Hills Gymnastics, every summer they do themed camps every 2 weeks. They run for an entire week, so that's a really fun camp that a lot of kids like to have fun at, and it's a good opportunity really for kids who don't have the same chance to do gymnastics and jump in there and check it out. Of course, we've got the cross-country camp, and then tennis camp. We'll also be running. Our instructor from River Ridge High School will be out there, and she's running 2 different camps throughout the summer as well. And then the standard 12 Skyhawks camps, which will include pickleball, tennis, cheerleading as well this summer. And then kind of just looking at where we want to go from here on. Really just wanting to continue to expand the programs that we offer to the youth in the community. I've always been a proponent for anybody who's trying to get into athletics to just try anything and everything you can. I think it just helps you grow not only physically but mentally, and it's also good for getting out and just socializing. So trying to add on top of that, right now, gonna continue to expand on Sports Sprouts. I just talked to somebody about coming out and doing some disc golf as well. And then really excited, potentially some big pickleball programming here coming up soon as well. So, and then the 3 other ones up there, rugby, volleyball, and golf. Those are all the main sports that I've seen getting some requests from the general public so far. So, questions, anybody?
Where is the golf? Like, are we partnering with the golf course for that or like?
At the moment, we don't have a partnership with the golf course. Basically, this one was actually run in the winter. So the way we have it set up is we've got some pads that we can lay down for the kids to hit the tees off and whatnot. We were able to do it in the gym actually for the first one. And then next time we go back to it, hoping that we can transition to a park, maybe outside in the springtime or something.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
It all sounds awesome.
Well, first evaluation, A++. Good job. You set the bar high.
Yeah, I'll chime in. We really appreciate all the work that Byron does every day. He's great with coworkers and with his staff, and he's great with the kiddos and with the parents. So I just can't say enough about how much we appreciate what you're doing out there in the community.
Thank you so much.
And the other thing I think needs to be noted, and I'm apologizing a little bit late, is Byron also does all of the scheduling for the city and school fields. Which if you wanna look at all of the, 100 user groups and the amount of fields and the amount of time and having to work with those different groups to make sure everything fits, he does an outstanding job doing that as well and communicating with the school district on, who's using what, as well as communicating with our maintenance staff to make sure that all the needs are fit. He stepped right in last year and has just done a phenomenal job, so.
Thank you.
I just wanna see a 3-year-old hit a golf ball. I did
It's entertaining.
3-year-old
It's
soccer,
worth
I did 3-year-old T-ball, it's like, okay.
Thank you, Byron.
Thank you.
Yeah, moving on to B and C. Jenny, were you wanting to do the introductions?
Give a quick, we have two new board members, so they're gonna give a little introduction of themselves, but Michelle Gibson is here. And they're both filling unexpired terms from obviously Wendy Goodwin and Camber Good, so we're super excited to have them here and their wonderful backgrounds and experience that we bring to us. So just like to give us go ahead and give us a little introduction, that'd be great.
First of all, thank you for allowing me to join this wonderful group. I spied on some of the work and the meetings and I love the synergy. I love what's happening in our community. I have been a resident of Lacey since yeah, over 25 years, whatever that year was, 1999, I think. So part of a military deposit into this area. I have 3 children of my own and 3 bonus children. My husband and I live in Lacey currently, and all of our kids are grown, but I have 3 littles. I have 5 grandkids of my own. 3 of them live local, so they get to go and play on the little train and do all the fun things. So I get to, it's like all over again. It's really cool. And I explained to Aram and I think it was Jenny,
Yep.
yeah, that when I moved here, it felt like a 1-horse town, really, you know, it's just like slow moving, which was great, which is why I moved with my kids, because it felt safe. And the boom is amazing, but still feels like a great place for to raise a family. And I'm excited to be a part of this board to watch how we also make it a great place for others to live and thrive.
Welcome. And then Annette Roth.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here as well. My name is Annette Roth. So a little bit about me in my day job. I work in economic development. So I've been doing that for about 15 years now. I run the Evergreen Coast Economic Development District, which covers Thurston, Mason, Grace Harbor, and Pacific counties. So it's kind of regional in its approach, which is really fun. And before that, I actually worked for the State Arts Commission. So I ran the Creative Districts program for the state of Washington for about 7 years. So I come at this with a really interesting lens in that regard, like how does art and culture help to, you know, enhance a community, it's sort of at the social level, but also contribute to the betterment of the economy and everything like that in the region. So I'm excited about that. I have been living in Lacey since 2014. So I've been in Washington for 20 years, but moved to Lacey in 2014. And I have a 16-year-old son who is a sophomore at North Thurston. He is a really great kid, plays violin, and is winding up his track season. So just kind of exciting. So, and I'm really glad to be here and glad to learn about all the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. We're
Welcome.
excited. We've been lucky that we have not had a lot of turnover of our board members recently. So, it was, we had a lot of great candidates. I don't think we were expecting that. And so it was, I know in the past, sometimes we've been struggling to find people when we ran up, but it was unexpected to have so many qualified people this time. And just wonderful to have you guys both on board. So thank you. Jen?
Great, thank you. So I'll be giving a Metropolitan Park District update this evening. And so what we did is we put the resolution in your packet. That's resolution 1166 that was approved by the city council at their April 1st meeting. And that allows Proposition 1 to be placed on the August 5th, 2025 ballot. And so what is Proposition 1? It's a measure asking the city of Lacey voters whether to create a Lacey Metropolitan Park District, or you'll hear it referred to as MPD. You'll recall at your March meeting, I did give a lot of information. In fact, I think I showed the slides from the last council meeting. But for the benefit of the public and also new Parks Board members, I thought it would be beneficial just to kind of do a little bit of a recap just of what a Metropolitan Park District is. So it's a junior property taxing district. It's authorized by state law to manage, control, improve, maintain, and acquire parks, parkways, boulevards, recreational facilities, programs, and services. One thing I want to share that's new that you'll see on your agenda, I mean, it's not new, it's new to the agenda itself. It says under verbal public comment, because state law, and then it quotes the RCW, prohibits the use of public facilities to promote or oppose any ballot measure, public comment for or against the Lacey Metropolitan Park District cannot be accepted at this meeting. And so you'll see that wording appear in Parks Board meetings, City Council meetings. And just wanted to clarify that some of you that were here did speak when the resolution 1166 was at the council meeting. And so that is different. So now we're into a different area now that it's going to the ballot. And so just wanted to clarify that, again, at any of the council meetings or a Parks Board meeting, it's not something that would be able to be allowed to happen during.
We can't even speak to factual things about it.
So we can speak to factual things. Yes, we can do that. Yeah, but this is like if someone came in to do a public comment,
Okay.
or if one of you wanted to go to council and do a public comment. So that's what's not allowed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but to your point, it's really important, and I think I mentioned this last time, our city attorney had given, the guidance to council members, and we'll give the same guidance to Parks Board members. It's just really important, and city staff, it's really important to remember what hat you're wearing. And so if you are wearing your Parks Board hat, and you're in City Hall, there's no advocacy for or speaking against the
But we could come
ballot
as
measure.
member
But if you're
authority.
on your own time,
Yeah.
and you're not in a city facility, and you're using your own resources like devices, electronic devices, then that's something that you can do on your own. So, and that's important for city staff as well. And so, so our role is to provide information to the public, the factual information. And so, and we will be doing a lot of that just so that people are informed about what it is and what things could be funded. So, I will note with the communications plan, I had updated you, but again, for benefit of new folks, we've been working really closely on the communications plan. And what that is an internal document that has some different components. It's got, explains the situation, the audiences, which is residents, property owners, parks users, and stakeholders. There are different tactics to get the messaging out, that information out. So community meetings with stakeholder groups. It includes flyer, website, newsletters, social media, press releases, all that kind of information, and a schedule for those. There's also questions and answers. And so what we, and again, that doesn't advocate for or against, but it shares all the information as facts. So we have that communications plan now done, and we have formed the public facing information from that plan. So a lot of the same Q&A is going to be like on the website that folks can access. And so there's, the webpage is actually live. It's cityoflacey.org/MPD. If anybody who's watching wants information, or if you all want to look that up. We'll also be we've got a flyer. There'll be one mailer that goes out, but we also will have informational flyer at like events. Because as you guys all know, because you've been to our events, we usually have an info booth that just tells of like parks happenings, parks and recreation happenings and programs. And so that'll be one of the informational pieces that we'll have at those events. And then, like I mentioned, with the stakeholder groups, we are, doing a lot of outreach to make sure everyone has the information. We'll go do some speaking engagements, and we will like email it out to different groups. As you know, we have a lot of different stakeholder groups, like sports user groups and disc golf and pickleball groups and all kinds of stakeholders. So, so we'll be getting that information out.
Are you gonna want any assistance from us at those meetings? I mean,
So
sharing those presentations and those kind of things?
So thank you for asking. We actually have a group of city staff that we've already identified that will be going out and doing those presentations.
I was just wondering if it could lend credibility to what the city's trying to do versus, you know what I mean? Just giving, we're on this board for a reason, and we could share in the importance of parks and those kind of things. With that, besides just the city staff doing that, just a thought.
Yeah, I would say if there's an opportunity to share information, then please do so. And I think the best way to do that is really to direct people to the website. Cause it does have a really good description of what it is, what the priorities are, and that Q&A. So
Your
I think-
flyer that was part of the packet too would be good too for us to have, especially those that are on, homeowners boards and things like that we could share, so.
Yeah, so we are definitely, like I said, we're reaching out and getting on the schedules of all those different community groups and stakeholder groups, and yeah, feel free to share the information as well. So appreciate that.
Would flyers be like available at the public libraries? We have two branches.
We haven't been putting. So we're supposed to distribute the flyers and the information via our regular means.
I see.
We haven't been putting information at the library, although I'm saying that, and we do for different events. But where we were planning to have those flyers was at our front counters. And then at our different events, like I was saying. Just kind of following the same pattern of where we usually share information.
Would it be? I was thinking of the library just because I personally, this is the only time I ever come to City Hall. But I'm
Yeah.
at the library all the time, it's at kids
Yeah,
and.
yeah, it's a great
just
question.
Different demographic.
Yeah, it's a great question. We can definitely check into that. I just know that the PDC has really strict guidelines.
I
And
see.
so, yeah, so we'll just need to check and make sure. Oh, sorry, the acronym?
Right, well, I mean, some of us work for state agencies, so we know all that, so, right?
Yeah, but I think that that's a great question and something that we can check on.
Are we allowed to get it out through the schools, just given the partnership between the schools and the city on a lot of the facilities?
That wasn't something that we were planning to do. We will be reaching out to the Northeastern Public School Board as one of the stakeholder groups to speak to, but that's another thing we could check on. Sure, because we put out information through the schools.
Yeah.
Remember to vote.
I see Jenny writing it down.
This flyer, I presume, is going out in the mail. When is it supposed to go out in the mail?
Yeah, we won't, so that's one of the things that we are going to be doing is saying, remember to vote. We're just sharing the information, but what's the question?
When is this gonna be going to, in the mail?
So the flyer gets mailed, I have the communications plan with me, let me check that. We're looking at, oh, thank you.
I feel like it's right
Payment.
before.
Yeah, so this is. Okay, we have slated July 9th. But we're still meeting with our communications team at the city, and so that could change slightly.
That's what, 3
but
weeks
that's
before?
That's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that's when ballots can.
So the ballots get mailed July 16th. And then, the election day is August 5th. It is coming up, yes, that's for sure. Any other questions?
I think the flyer looks great. Information is helpful.
And we'll dissolve what, January 1st?
No.
No.
When does no, I'm serious. When does
No, we,
How do
so
we-
this,
how do
this
we
is a
exist
question,
after
yeah,
that?
this is a question that actually came up before, so I'm glad you brought it up. No, the Parks Culture Recreation Board will just stay as normal. So what happens with the local model of a Metropolitan Park District is that the city council is the board. And so there doesn't need to be a different board created as there would be in a regional model.
like a transportation benefit district, same thing. The
It's-
council becomes the transportation benefit district, they have a separate hat,
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
approve budgets. do
Yeah. Yeah, so they'll definitely, city council would still need this group making recommendations and,
Cause we're technically an advisory board, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So we would, just wanna make sure I understand, the things that are mentioned kind of within the scope of the MPD, this board would still talk about and recommend to the council, right?
Yeah,
As
unless-
we do now.
correct, so the Parks Board duties and responsibilities are outlined in the Lacey Municipal Code.
Yes.
It's in section 2.44, and so unless that code changed,
Okay.
your duties would remain the same as they currently are.
Just create a separate funding structure for those recommendations that they would have.
You could call it a funding mechanism.
Are we now calling ourselves board members and not commissioners? Or did that change? It doesn't matter to me, I just noticed.
No, I think what's in our LMC is that known collectively as the board.
Okay.
And you're individually known as commissioners. A little confusing.
Pretty interchangeable, I would assume.
I think that technically, but you can also be called board members as well, yeah, interchangeably.
Actually, what would you like to be considered?
I really don't care, it's like a squirrel moment. I was like,
Good question.
didn't derail our topic.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jen.
Thanks.
Was that all? Okay,
That's all I have for that.
great. Awesome. Well, then, next we have Jenny Wilson, talking about the board policies and procedures update, and it is an actual item.
Thank you, Commissioner Dykstra. This leads us right into the first topic. So in your packet was a revised rules of procedure for Parks Board. There were just some administrative updates that were needed for consistency to match existing policies, and then some changes, updating the terms to match our LMC, which collective board is for, individual members are commissioners, so just kind of changing that throughout to make it consistent. And then also the agenda outline, we changed that a little while ago, so updating that in here so that it reflects what we're actually doing. And then the quorum information now matches what's in the LMC, which that always superseded our rules of procedure. And then the public comment policy, which, as you recall, was updated in, I believe, September. And that is within the city council and advisory board handbook. So that was just directing that information to the that handbook. So kind of took out some of the details of that. It gets updated.
So it seems like a lot of items we've already been kind of exercising throughout the process, and this is just updating our actual policy. Okay, were you done with the description?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion before we call for a vote on if we want to adopt it? Okay, then I will can I get a motion to approve the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board rules and procedures?
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, with no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. Motion carries. You guys are gonna have to jump on them. We always try to share the motioning, so. Not one
First
person. Sit back, I like it, I like it, I like it, awesome. Okay, so next, letter F, memorandum of understanding Thurston County Pickleball Club. This is an actual item and also presented by Jen Wilson.
So also in your packet, we included a memo of understanding that we're asking for your review and approval tonight. The Thurston County Pickleball Club has expressed concern over some cracking in the tennis courts at Rainier Vista Park. They're concerned because they host quite a few tournaments at Rainier Vista, and they use the tennis courts as overflow. They have them lined for pickleball. They have a very strong desire to have the courts repaired before their largest tournament in August, which is the Washington State Senior Games. It's a 4-day event that is regional draw, has quite a few people that come to it. They have agreed to pay for the project in lieu of court rental fees over the next 5 years. And so we'll give them 9 days of court use. And we looked into it. We're able to accommodate the project. It's a great opportunity for us to partner with the club to solve the concern. The project is on our Parks Capital Improvement Program and needs attention within the next few years anyways. So getting it completed at no cost to us is kind of a win-win.
So is this an example of something that would go to the district if the district was approved? Would the proposal would go that way versus to the board for approval, or would we still weigh in on that? Since it's a financial.
Yeah, you'd still weigh in. Yeah,
Okay.
Because this,
yeah,
I mean,
everything would be the same.
they're donating the funds for the
Yeah.
project, correct?
Which is way cool.
Yeah.
But it is
Yeah.
a capital improvement program, so it's.
Yep.
The 5-year or the
6-year,
6-year?
Yep. But
But if somebody else came forward and said, hey, I'm just making this up, I wanna pave part of Wonderwood because I want the drones to be able to land there. That's not on our capital improvement program. It's just gonna come to us as just a normal request like we have for little libraries and other stuff. And it won't get a priority like this because it's already on our list of capital stuff we wanna do.
And we'd have the opportunity at that point, I think, to probably advise a rejection of, if it was something that didn't fit in with what we felt was compatible with the way the park worked, would be our recommendation, would even go to city council at that point for the final approval.
Probably would.
Okay.
For those of you that may or may not have been here years ago, we had a similar arrangement with South Puget Sound Community College. They were using our soccer fields and they provided and bought the really nice benches, the covered benches that are used on soccer field 1. And that was, we used the amount that those were and we calculated it out in usage for them as a swap. And once that agreement was over, those are now ours, which is over, and they are looking to come with something similar. So it's not it's something that we have done in the past.
So it is like a 1-to-1 swap almost then?
no, actually, in this case, we calculated and we think that the rental fees over 5 years would be about 33,000.
So this is
We're
like.
making,
We're making money
a
on
lot
this
of
one.
money on
Yeah.
this one,
And
okay.
I think this
Wow.
really just goes to show how truly invested they are and they really want
And
this
how much
done.
money they have.
Right, and we've talked to them.
People's bid,
Right,
right?
we have talked to them extensively and, they have said really that this is what their club is there for, this is why they host tournaments and they want to improve the playing opportunities. And so, but that is part of the, agreement is that this is gonna cost their club a lot.
Yeah.
And so that is why we're giving in lieu of that's gonna allow them to recoup and build their funds again.
And they're able to compete with Kitchen 23 or whatever it's called out there on.
23 kitchens?
Yeah, thank you.
Nothing's better than playing outdoors on a nice
Well, I
sunny day,
agree
so.
in what they're charging to play it.
It's my understanding they greatly increased their fees over the last year as well, so this is, definitely a win-win for the community and for the pickleball. community.
Yeah.
Is that a local pickleball place?
Yeah, it's in Hawks Prairie, it's a
on
a facility that,
It's a private.
private
Yeah.
club.
Yeah.
Has a bar and restaurant associated
They have
with it.
indoor and outdoor courts.
Oh, I
I
am.
mean, it's a
Under a
beautiful
rock.
facility.
And it's called kitchen because the kitchen is what's, you're not allowed in the kitchen. It's the front area that you can't walk into, in front of the net. It's called a kitchen. So 23 kitchens, they have, 11 courts and then an actual kitchen. Yeah.
So 22 courts, yeah, 22 kitchens on the courts and then the
Right.
actual cooking
I
kitchen.
know
people that's kinda cute.
Clever.
It's a really fun place. I mean, they do events and stuff too. They've got cornhole and I think like the Velcro axe throwing and just
Are they
they've
gonna
been
kind
having
of
bands
compete
and
for
stuff
the
there too.
tournament though at the?
I don't think, the tournament is so big,
Yeah.
they couldn't, I don't think that they could hold it at.
Well,
So
and one of the things with this tournament, to try to just jump in, is we reline the tennis courts, plus they also put courts on the basketball courts
Okay.
in order to accommodate as
That
many
many
teams as
people.
they have. So I mean, we really spread things thin and they've been there for a number of years and it's been a really great,
Oh, no, I know.
great thing for the community. And I know that Sean and Dustin
I
are
know,
going through
it's-
kitchens,
it's
have
amazing.
met with them in the last week, that they are looking at doing some programs with us as well in the
Oh,
future. So we are creating that working relationship with them as well.
Well, so does the pickleball club want any kind of an acknowledgement that they're, I mean, essentially investing $50,000 into the city?
You know, that was something that we talked about and it gets a little challenging when if people want signage and so this is where we landed and this is where.
And they're happy with it.
They're very happy with
Alrighty
this.
then.
I mean, really, they just want the courts better. Yeah, I mean, we did discuss, you know, the potential of having like bricks or patches or something, you know, that people could buy and it gets very complicated very quick for us. And
I was looking
maintaining
at
that.
them, they didn't look that bad to me today, but but I'm not a huge.
They're not our worst,
No wonder what
Right.
courts are worse than.
right, and that kind of speaks to the reason why they're paying
Yeah,
such a significant amount, cause honestly, we would probably prioritize another project ahead of it. And that was something that we discussed with them. But if they're willing to pay for the whole thing and help us get it
Come
done,
on down.
right?
And
Something I learned when we met with them was that they do utilize the full space.
Oh, yeah.
So that's part of it, is that like the typical court might be okay, but like they need every inch
Yes, yeah.
of flat surface.
No, yeah.
So,
See.
because they put up the
Temporary.
portable,
Yeah.
so.
Great, well, yeah, make sure we don't get too far off of the, because we still have a vote on it. You know, great discussion, everyone. Would there be, do I get a motion to? What? It's your guys' opportunity. Is that one motion already?
think you moved.
That's for the policy.
I think that was the previous one. but-
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so
this is-
confused.
Yeah, this is for the memorandum of understanding.
That was my scroll moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so do I hear a motion to approve the memorandum as written?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, awesome, hearing none, motion carries. And also I appreciate you guys entertaining, this was a good opportunity for us to kind of understand how things like this would be moving forward if the MPD would to pass. So thank you for entertaining that through this process. All right, next would be reports. First would be the commissioners. Does anyone have any report that they would like to give? Any comments?
Happy to be here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Happy the legislative session's over.
Oh,
Retirement part two is
Part two.
is in full effect. So it's-
It's the baby.
Yeah.
well, he's probably sleeping.
How old is your son?
He just turned 1 in April.
Oh, wow.
He's really cute.
That's a fun
He
age.
is
I'm
really
biased.
cute.
Is he walking and stuff?
Crawling and yeah,
Loves the camera.
he
He
does.
likes to join the meetings. He's he's a very good addition.
Very photogenic.
Well, I can stay home if you need me to.
Although you're probably happy to be like here and out and doing things.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have much to say. I will just say that this time of year, I think this is my favorite time of year and being able to go to Lacey Parks and especially living across from Wonderwood and just seeing it come alive and how vibrant it is right now with people picnicking, with the baseball tournament, you know, with the Little League going on, with the volleyball, with, you know, everything that goes along with that, and just seeing how well maintained our parks are always through that process. It just always brings a smile to my face, and so it'll never get old, and I hope I never lose the ability to enjoy it. So just thank you to the staff and everyone at Lacey to make that available to everyone. So thank you.
Wonderwood was packed today at midday. Packed.
Oh, was it?
It was packed today. I was like, maybe somebody rented, I don't know, the covered picnic area and the parking lot was full and this was at 11:30-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 2, it was virtually empty.
Really?
I took a walk there with my coworker.
I was wondering if it was maybe a preschool thing that was going on. I mean, there was
Maybe
lots
an
of
after
kid
school year.
voices and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just, I was like, wow.
Cause that is one of the facilities that is a first come, first serve. That's not one of our shelters that we do reserve, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Otherwise, we could tell you what group it
I was
was.
gonna say, I'm not gonna tell you what was there. but-
Because, you know, on the Sunday group where the jousters are always there, they get there first, huh?
Oh,
The largest are back in the, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, Greenwood Keep.
Yeah.
Wonder what does Greenwood Keep to them, so
Yeah.
It's a hidden gem.
it is.
It's not.
All right, Stu, you're up.
I've been
Hi,
scared. a couple times with
those
that
for
trail.
you, I'm Sue Felish, I'm the recreation manager. I was just caught in trying to get here, so I apologize for being a couple minutes late. But thank you for being so supportive of Byron. He does a phenomenal job. He's only been in the position for about a year and a half now. He started, it was a year last December, so he's really been a fabulous addition to our team, so. What I've got for you now is the kind of the first quarter synopsis of our programs, and I'll go through each of them and kind of talk a little bit about them. I know that they are all in your packet, so I'm not gonna read it all verbatim for you. The first one is aquatics. We are busy, that first quarter is busy hiring new staff. We had 4 new staff, took them through lifeguard training, got them geared up doing swim lessons so that they're gonna be ready for summer, especially when we have the full onslaught of lessons. Some lessons have been doing really great. Aquafit classes ran smoothly. We did have, we had the boys swim team season in that first quarter, so they are at North Thurston, River Ridge and Timberline. We don't do their swim teams, but we help facilitate the scheduling and we have to do our scheduling around them. We also started back up our, specialized recreation program started back up, as well as we started hosting pool rentals. Again, we had 2 in the first quarter and then 3 by the time we've had this conversation. And he also helped schedule 245 hours of TOSC, which is our local swim club. So as of the aquatic side, Scott was very busy doing that. Special events, this is one that we're usually very full of information, but first quarter, we only had the Lacey cultural celebration, which is, if you've never been, I think is one of the highlights of our community. They had over 4,000 folks estimated as coming. We had Twin Star Credit Union, once again, was a great sponsor for that. We also have a new multi-event sponsor, Country Financial, who is gonna be helping sponsor Spring Fun Fair and the 3rd of July and Lacey and Tune and Holiday Lights. And they are contributing $14,000 to us this year, so that's always nice when we get the community support for our programs. And Jeanette is working on doing some bonus nights for the summer concerts because there have been such demand for that. So we will be having some extra days with that, as well as continuing to do our play in the park on Thursdays.
I have a question.
Sure.
Sorry, is that the Country Financial sponsorship? Is that like a pretty typical
14,000,
amount
no.
that someone- or is that-
Not really, it's higher than normal.
Okay.
We've had the Twin Star is the other one that is a pretty lengthy one, and I think they're at 15,000. We've got some of them, but normally we're getting about $500 to $1,000. We've got 2 or 3 that are pretty hefty, but mostly, 1,000 is a pretty fair amount.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just nice to get it. They're brand new. It's the first time. They're very excited, so I'm happy to have them, or we're happy to have them. Community recreation, one of the big highlights is, as y'all know, we started up our Lacey Teen Night, which is now called the Lacey Teen Late Night Programs. They had great attendance so far for 2025. They're averaging about 365 kids per event, and those are middle school events. Schools have been very excited to have them in as well. Cultural programs are going great. We had some new additions. We started offering a Automotive 101 class and some of the different things of like coping with stress. through writing and some different things instead of the traditional just ballet and dance and arts and crafts. So Lauren has been doing a great job trying to bring in some different types of programs, so that's exciting to see. Our facilities and rentals, community center as well as Jacob Smith House are busy as normal. This is usually kind of a slower day. One of the key things that happened in this first quarter was we did have the floors taken down, they sanded them all the way down. It was the first time I think they've had them sanded down since we went in. Or it's the second time, but it will be the last time we can, but it made a huge difference. These floors are just beautiful. So they usually do maintenance the first 2 weeks in January, so that took place. We are also having to replace the speakers in the facility because they were basically blown, but they had been in there since the building was, the inception of the building, so they've lasted a long time, but we had all those replaced, so that was nice. Picnic shelters started up. We start registration for those February 1st, even though they're not actually reservable till April 1st, but we already started reservations and we had collected over $10,000 as of April 1st in rental fees. So they're off to a big start again. That's something that seems like the community really enjoys. The athletic complex, the RAC, is busy as usual. Sean had his Lacey softball leagues. There was 16 co-ed teams and 14 men's for the spring. We had Cal Ripken and all of the high school fast pitch baseball started up in March. So we're just in full swing. We'll hear more about that for the next season. Also, we hosted the 2025 Elks Hoop Shoot districts where the Lacey champion, we had a champion from Lacey in the 8 and 9-year-old girls division. And they moved on to the state competition, so that's kind of exciting to see that we have people from here. Our schools were very, we had, the North Thurston Public Schools were the most, I can't think of the word, I'm trying to think of it. They supported it more than any other schools. We had more schools involved in this competition than Olympia or Tumwater combined. So it really shows that North Thurston is really engaged in what's happening and what's going on. We also started up our field reservations. March opens up the grass fields and we had over almost 900 reservations just right off the bat. And we had 379 participants in over 50 camps and programs in just the youth sports and adult sports. So that's off to a really good start. The Nisqually, just an FYI, the Nisqually turf field and track is almost completed, so that'll be nice when we eventually will have another synthetic field within the within our realm of use for the community, so that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, Nisqually Middle School.
Yeah, they have a back football field that has been just pretty much unused for years. And that was one of their projects that they had got the money for, so it's almost ready to get up and open, so that will make things a little easier. Right now, it's being used by River Ridge High School because they're still working on that campus. But eventually it will open up and just add it to the inventory for the community, hopefully soon. Probably next year, so that's kind of nice, because especially in the winter months, it's very big highlight. Front desk customer service, we finalized the department's updated process for account entering programs. I think we've come a really long way since we've done away with the traditional playbook. We've been working with not only my staff as well as Carter as the front staff to kind of streamline our process. Everything is kind of a work in process, but we've come leaps and bounds from where we were before, and things are coming along really quickly and really smoothly, so that's nice to see. The front desk had over 730 transactions with $184,673 during the Q1, and that's not one of our busiest quarters, so it shows you that we're still not having a playbook has not impacted our people using our programs at all. Spring registration had over 249 unique offerings, so our staff's doing a really good job of trying to get as many different things out there for the community as possible. We have a market and matrix committee, which is kind of headed up by Fulton, which hopefully you'll meet here shortly sometimes soon. He's been really instrumental in helping us move from the playbook by putting things out on the web. We have stuff going out in the social media. And he's doing a really good job of tracking everything we've got going. Our department Facebook from January to February, we had over 41,000 views, which was up 42.3%, with 758 interactions, which was up 77% from the year before. Our Instagram views are up 52.9%. So we're obviously definitely getting that information out there, and social media is playing a really huge role in that. We're still continuing to do our monthly newsletter, which is going as well. It goes out to 9,160 recipients. I can talk today. Which is, it has a 55.4% in the open rate. That means that people are actually opening up the attachments. So
I read it.
you're one of our ones, so.
I'm one of those 54%.
We like that.
That's a really high converting rate.
Yeah, so, you know, and to have, he's been great. I mean, he's very proactive into this and he's very engaged, and he gets us into all this different stuff that those of us that are older would not have even thought of. So this is great to
Remember,
have.
we were afraid about losing the playbook.
Yeah,
One spot you go to find everything
and it
it's
has
working
not,
out great.
yeah, it
Nobody's
hasn't saved
complaining.
money. It hasn't, I don't believe it's impacted our registrations at all. So that's really nice to see.
And the website's very nicely organized, so it's easy to find.
Yeah, we can thank Carter and those guys for that, because they are keeping that
Thank you.
intact.
Thank
So
you. It's very easy to find swimming lessons.
that's what we want to have. That's what we want. Lastly, I have a review of the museum. They had 3 history talk programs, which had 859 people attending them. And the museum move is still progressing. Hopefully they'll be moving into the Belltown Center soon. Exhibits are about 90% planned, and exhibit walls have been installed and some artifacts have been moved over. So we're hoping to.
What's the like date that's gonna actually?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have a date because there's still a couple of factors that are outside of our control. So Sue mentioned that we did get the exhibit walls, but we have platforms also. And then the Lacey Makerspace is making us some railings and cases and things like that. So soon, as soon as we have a date, we'll let you know.
You guys will be the first to know. So does anybody have any questions on any of our programs or offerings or?
I have a question.
Sure.
Shelters, is there a reason why we don't have more shelters that are reservable? Are we planning to make more?
No.
reservable?
The reason that the ones that we have reservable is because we have staff that is available. So like the regional athletic complex or staff on site. So when they put it up, they can help monitor and make sure that those reservations are upheld.
I see.
Same thing with the one out of Wonderwood or Woodland Creek Community Park. The community center staff, they post it and they can, if there's any questions, there's staff on site.
Okay.
As well as the Rainier Vista. We have thought about doing some other, but it's also nice to have some first come, first served options for the community.
Yeah.
So we have those options, and the ones that are reservable are the ones that we can actually monitor, and instead of having somebody going in there early and I paid for it and I go there and they're refusing to leave, and that's awkward. Yeah, we don't want those. So we want it to be a positive experience. So
Yeah.
doing the best we can to make it that.
And the ones that are first come, first serve are also free.
Yes.
So you have that balance of some are.
And do they have to notify you? Or do they just, you can just go put your picnic basket down and with the family and
Six to
In the
the.
summer, they show up real early at Wonder.
They do with the happy birthday signs.
Yeah.
On the weekend, summer weekends.
There's enough space that if like, 2
Yeah.
to 3 large groups can be accommodated, in that area at Wonderwood, so.
Got a question?
I do. So,
Yeah.
the teen late night, is that held at the middle school? high
It's held
school?
at the middle school. They rotate around the 4 middle schools. It is used to be you could register or just go in and pay. Now it is a pre-registration, so it's $10 a night. We do allow or do not allow. We rely on adults, a lot of them are parents, to help volunteer to facilitate those, but chaperone them. They've been great. I mean, they have a gym and they have usually music and
Yeah.
they've brought in inflatables and different things. They have snacks. I think they do karaoke still.
Help me feel good about that, cause my oldest grandchild went,
It's-
and I didn't know it was a Lacey Park thing. So I stood outside in the rain, waiting for the door to open for her to go in, cause I'm like, I don't know what's going on in
We
there.
have-
It looks like.
No,
We
it's
have-
in partnership with the schools.
We have a lot of staff there, a lot of volunteers. It's been a really great, really successful program. It's very supported by the school district as well as by our city and city council. It's.
And Lacey
it's-
Police,
And Lacey Police.
they're very supportive as well.
It's,
My kids loved it.
There were a lot of children.
there is, I mean, you do get a lot of kids in there, but there is so much going on and it just gives them an opportunity to engage with other kids and.
Get those middle schoolers out of trouble
Well,
on a
especially
Friday
since they,
night.
they don't
Yeah.
have dances at the schools
No.
regularly
Yeah,
anymore.
no,
So-
yeah, my kids loved it.
It's a great program, and if you're really concerned,
I would love-
volunteering
I
would be,
love to. Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
That's
Well,
great,
thank
if you have
you.
400 middle school kids in one spot.
To the front, my
You're braver
children
than I am. My kids
Yeah.
went through it, I did.
Sounds like, I don't. See those people all day at school.
That's how my daughter was.
Does he go to Chinook?
He goes to Chinook, okay, he's a seventh grader. Great. So, are you also doing the park maintenance supervisor update?
I am not.
You're not? Oh, it's Jenny, okay. Our senior parks planner, okay.
Okay, so I get this from JD Oakland. So they onboarded 2 new full-time employees and 15 seasonal employees, so we're really ramping up for summer. Jamie's been really instrumental in assisting in the planning of several projects. RAC Phase 3, there's a security camera expansion project. Police department landscaping. He's gonna be leading the Rainier Vista tennis court resurfacing project, so he's been helping us with the
When's that
MOU.
starting? The
The-
resurfacing?
Oh, once we get this approved.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah,
JV, yes, JV will work on getting it out to bid.
So it'll be sometime this summer or
Yeah, the idea is to have it done before August.
for the
Yeah.
tournament? Okay.
It'll probably be tight to get it done before August, to be honest. Jamie's also working on a parks asset condition assessment, so they've hired an outside group to kind of do an assessment of all of our assets in the parks. So that'll help give us a gauge of like our worst condition in our parks. He's also helping with the Woodland Creek Bridge replacement project. He's worked with community members to issue firewood permits. They charged the irrigation and drinking fountains, aerated athletic fields, conducted the quarterly playground inspections. They replaced the RAC synthetic turf on Soccer Field 1, and the bullpens at the RAC also, and they replaced the LED scoreboard panels at the RAC. They did some work to improve the field drainage in saturated areas on the fields at the RAC. At Wonderwood Park, they installed some bat racks on baseball fields, and they added some large boulders to prevent vehicles from driving into the park. They added some, it's called Turfus, to the dirt infields. And it's like a soil conditioner that increases water retention and improved play area. They repaired a broken swing at Woodland Creek Park. They removed a cracked slide at Thornberry Park and mitigated an entrapment hazard that they found that was during their playground inspection. They fixed a broken gate at Lake Point tennis courts. They mitigated 26 acts of vandalism and graffiti. Keep reporting that. And then they graded the gravel and repaired a broken door and gate at the depot area.
Awesome. Busy.
Always feel a little out of breath to hearing their report.
It's a lot of facts.
Yep, a lot of facts.
Jenny, you said something about firewood. What is
Yes, yeah, so when the parks maintenance crew has to remove like hazard trees, that wood is given to community members through a firewood permit program. And there's some criteria, I might have to check in it, but I think that they have to agree that they're using it for like a source of heat or something along those lines. I don't know the details of it, but
So they can't like resell it.
right, exactly.
I think you're next again.
Yep. Okay, so the one thing that I wanted to share with you is, this came up at our last meeting and I'm disappointed that Commissioner Larson isn't here because I think he's the one that asked about it is, a question came up about the Karen Fraser Woodland Trail extension. The trail currently ends at the eastern end of Woodland Creek Park and then turns into railroad tracks, kind of paralleling Union Mills Road and extends all the way to Marvin Road. And I think you might have noticed in the correspondence that we've had some community members that have been interested in this about turning those tracks into a trail. Because during that big road construction project on Marvin Road, they removed the railroad crossing that was there. And so I think there's some like renewed interest on, is that gonna be turned into a trail? And so I did check with Thurston County and they confirmed that the Burlington Northern Santa Fe still owns the railroad track property. And although there was a contract allowing them to remove the crossing as part of that road construction project, they maintain the right to put the tracks back in Marvin Road if they want to in the future. So they're not abandoning those tracks is kind of where we're at. So any future plans for that trail would have to start with the.
What a great organization. That's my commentary.
So anyways, that's where that was at. It's interesting how many inquiries I've gotten about it. So people are very.
It makes so much sense.
Right.
Really.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can build a trail with the caveat that they might put the railroad back.
Well, they can do rail to trails, but
Right.
it's
They
a longer
could, but
process.
it's like,
Right.
It's a process.
It's a
Yep.
process.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyways, but one step closer, I would assume. They're definitely not closer to giving up the.
Less attached to it than we
Right,
were before.
right. Yeah, it seems like a lot of work to put another railroad crossing back in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways. And then the Woodland Creek Bridge Replacement Project should be going out for construction ad soon. So the design work is ready for that. And again, the plan is to use a prefabricated bridge for that. And they're hoping that they will be able to hit the construction window, which is July 1st through October. And that's pretty specific for the creek project because that's when there's no water in there. So it's kind of a requirement for that. Yeah, right, right. And then I also wanted to share that Intercity Transit had sent some information about a project where they're doing kind of long-term countywide bus stop enhancement project. And so I went through and I looked and there's a couple that are gonna impact near our park sites. Some of the upgrades involve relocating stops, adding concrete pads, ramps. So just overall improvements. I mean, it's countywide. I think there's 155. There isn't an exact timeline of when they're gonna happen, but sounds like maybe they need to get some grant funding. But one of them is the stop on Ruddle Road near Rainier Vista Park. That bus stop is gonna move about 450 feet north of the existing stop. So it'll kind of be north of the entrance to Rainier Vista. So I don't think that's a huge change. And then the other one is at Meridian Neighborhood Park. They're relocating a stop to the nearby crosswalk. So it'll make it a closer stop towards the park. And then my next update is related to Homan Park. You may recall several months ago that I reported that we were working with Jack Homan and a representative. He had some concerns. So Jack Homan was the son of the family that donated the park property to us. And he had some concerns about the condition of the park. So Jamie Oakland and I met with them, not with Jack, but a family friend who was kind of his representative, to discuss the concerns. And they had a lot of questions about how we got to where the park is, and working on a resolution. And since then, Director Burbidge and City Manager Rick Walk had a follow-up meeting. And they agreed to recognize the family's donation with a historic informational marker about the Homan family. And we're really excited about this because the museum collections include some really great photos of when the family donated the property to us. Photos of the husband and wife sitting on like really old playground equipment. And I think they donated in 1973, sound right?
I don't remember the year off the top of my
I
head.
think that's what it was. Anyways,
Really old.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
been a while.
Right.
Metal slides.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was really, yeah. So anyways, sadly, Jack Homan passed away in February. So kind of disappointing that, he didn't, you know, he won't get to see it, but, his friend who he had been working with, and who was also on the historic, he's very involved with the Historic Society, was really delighted about that solution, and as a way to recognize the family. So I just really appreciate Jen and our city manager working to that, solution.
And I'll throw appreciations back to Jenny and Jamie for all the research they did, and something that was very neat was that the friend let us know that Jack was delighted by all the improvements that we had made at Homan Park that he didn't realize. So I think it was good. It was a good effort all the way around, and cool, yeah. Well, thanks for your work with that.
And then the only other thing that I have to report is just our kind of update on our budget. We're already working on preparing our 2026 budget requests. So the top projects that we're requesting are Homan Park picnic area replacement. So that's kind of the asphalt area that right kind of by the playground. It's just old and needs to be replaced. It's cracking. And then also we're putting in for Huntemer Park sidewalk repairs and then replacement of the climbing structure. You know, we showed you some concepts for the water feature in that plaza area. So we're putting that through. And then Thornberry Park playground replacement. My previous report from Jamie, the slide was removed because it was cracked and damaged. They're having some issues with the structure shifting, so that needs to be replaced. It's our second oldest playground structure. And then we're also requesting Wonderwood Park trail replacement, updating the asphalt on the Brentwood side. I always have to think which side. A lot of those trails.
Near the baseball.
Yep, a lot of those trails, we think they were installed in the mid-80s, but you know.
One right, like running with the tennis courts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right in
Yep.
front of the tennis court.
Big giant roots.
Yeah, the roots are. Yep.
Pretty puddly.
Yeah.
Troughs.
Yes.
I think some kids might be disappointed because it's our unofficial pump track, right?
Yeah.
They're a splash magnet for
Yep.
sure.
Yep. And then we're also putting in for the rack, a baseball complex concrete replacement. So when the complex was built, they used like a porous concrete, and it's over the years now there's moss and it's not porous anymore. It's not porous anymore. So,
And requires a lot of maintenance.
right. So obviously this is just kind of giving you a picture of this is how early our budget process starts, and we put these requests into our capital projects team who works on it, and then still has to go through our city manager and before it actually gets approved. So anyways, that's our report.
Thank you.
A couple things going
Director
on.
Burgess.
Yep.
And on that note, I
Yeah.
have quite a few updates. So Great Cuyo Park, as you know, we had the groundbreaking ceremony March 6th, and Parks Board hasn't met since then because we didn't have an April meeting. So, but it was just a beautiful day. It was perfectly timed with the sunshine. And that day was surrounded by really bad weather. So it was just like this break in the weather. It was beautiful. And the timing of just right before construction actually started. So I wanted to thank Chair Wheeler and Vice Chair Davies and Commissioner Larson, who's not here tonight, but for attending that. It was really neat to have you there, and with the hard hats and the gold shovels and everything.
I love the gold shovel. I was impressed. I know.
Other duties as assigned.
It was great. It was great.
Frisbees. Gold baskets.
Yeah. We also had great attendance from the council. We had Mayor Ryder, Deputy Mayor Miller, we had Councilmember Cox, Greenstein, Dunning, and Vasquez all there. We also had Greg Cuyo, who the park is named after, former city manager. And he was able to share some history, and our city manager and the mayor also were able to speak and share their excitement about the community's access. There is a video that's being finished right now that's gonna go up on the website. Don't think it's up yet, is it? Okay, it's close. But that's kind of cool. We can share in that way. And then just a huge thank you to our parks maintenance staff who helped get the site prepped for the event. And then regarding construction, it's well underway. We've got a drone photo just to share with you so you can kind of get a feel for what things look like. They look very different. And this was actually taken a couple weeks ago. So I was actually out last week at the site and it's even further along than this. So the playground is gonna be kind of over, see the big hill. And then the playground will be, oh, she's gonna give me this, yeah. Playground is like right in here. So the actual footprint for the playground is in the dirt. I'm just excited about the playground. But you know, this is of course that main loop area that will be paved. And have the, you know, the picnic shelter will be in here. And then you've got the trail that leads off into the woods that way, just to kind of help you get your bearings. They've got where the entrance is actually gonna be, so where the entrance that you came for the groundbreaking, not grand opening, was down here. The entrance is now up here. And that's aligned with kind of the access point that's over on the east there for future. That'll help with future development.
That is amazing, just in 2 months.
We just, you know,
It's on, everything's on time so
Yeah.
far, so.
Wow.
I was just saying that, you know, when we were doing the groundbreaking, you know, they had kind of the, like, just kind of barriers up, like the weather barriers,
Yeah.
just to mark it off, but
Mhm.
I never thought it would be that. It was still like really hilly and just not graded, so that's amazing. What they've done.
Yeah, and just encourage you to drive by. They're also working to the north of there.
Right through that, those.
Yep, right through those trees. Yeah, you can't see it in this photo, but there's actually another pretty big construction area where that maintenance and emergency vehicle entrance is gonna be. And there's enough space for larger vehicles to turn around there. So it's quite the project. You should drive by
So
if you get a chance.
The main kind of walking trails that are gonna go through the woods,
Mhm.
is that being constructed at the same time, or will that be kind of like this, oh, that's all?
The main trail
Okay,
and then the disc golf course.
oh, okay,
But there will be, eventually there'll be more secondary trails.
okay. Are we, so is South Sound Disc Golf Association working, getting all that in like currently with?
Yeah, so actually, I'm glad you brought that up. At our next meeting, we'll bring the agreements that we have, that we've been working with them to put together.
Yeah,
And we'll share a little bit more specifically about the golf course portion
awesome,
at the next meeting.
that's
So
great.
appreciate you bringing that up. But yeah, so we are currently on time for substantial completion by the end of June. But then after that point, we still have to do inspections and then assess, you know, the safety of allowing certain areas to be open. But we haven't received the playground equipment yet or the shelter. So those are those long lead items that we told you about before. So that could delay things a little bit later, as late as October. So we just, yeah, so it's still looking like it's very much on time, but we're just having to see how the schedule progresses along, so. We are planning a grand opening, celebration and ribbon cutting for this fall. But again, we are waiting to announce the date until we're certain that construction continues to stay on schedule, so. Yeah, super exciting and can't wait to get people out there.
Real until I saw that photo. Like,
Right.
It's just like, it all was just still planning and like, wow, there are people doing it.
We've been talking about this for a long time.
Yep.
Three
We
years
almost
now.
broke our ankles walking.
Yeah.
That's the trail.
I drive by kind of a lot, real slow, like it's great, should go.
Yeah, I mean, just to get a sense of the scope, I
Yeah,
mean, that
it's
helps, but like to actually
It's huge.
be next to it is, yeah.
There's a lot of green space wild animals without a question mark. So how close are we to wild critters, bears, deer? I mean, I haven't been there yet, so like where, you know. how does
Yeah,
that-
I mean, there's coyote, there has been black bear scat seen. I've never actually seen a black bear there, only heard about one at McAllister most recently. Was that last summer or the one before?
Last spring, I think.
Yeah.
Spring.
Spring.
But there are tons of birds. There's like salmonberry and there's probably 40 bird species, if I had to guess.
There's deer,
Deer, yeah,
no cougars.
Yeah,
Haven't heard any cougar sightings.
There's been a cougar out in Johnson Point Road area for many years.
Mm.
The coyotes, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
yes, a
coyotes.
lot of coyotes.
But I mean, there's coyotes in Wonderwood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coyotes in my
Never seen it.
neighborhood.
I just know because my cat's on the tree and I see those coyotes.
Yeah, and we will eventually have a link with wildlife information. That's something that Commissioner Goodwin worked on quite a bit. I'm sure you guys remember.
Mhm.
So to be able to share with the public. Yeah. That's all, and Greg Cuyo, unless anyone else has questions. My next one is, I have a bunch. My next one,
Oh,
sorry.
I thought you were like, oh,
No, I-
I was saying.
I forgot we're out of the business items section, so I can just keep going. Okay, RAC Phase 3 update. So as I had shared prior, we're in the concept design process. So SCJ Alliance is the lead consultant and they have a sub-consultant, ACLS, who specialize in sports facilities. And so that team is going to be sharing 3 concepts for that west side of Marvin Road. That's where the vacant property is currently, that is the future phase of the RAC. Plus concept level design for the east side of Marvin at the current soccer field. So the concept there is fields 1 and 2. There's a synthetic field, that's number 1, soccer field number 1. Number 2 is natural grass. And so they're putting together what it would look like and the rough order of magnitude cost to convert field 2 to synthetic turf and add lights. So there's already lights on field 1, so using those same poles to add lighting and then adding another bank of lights. And so there's also a lot of components that could be phased in later. But essentially, they're going to be coming to Parks Board at your next meeting so before it goes to council, we're going to, the consultant team and staff are gonna show it to this board and see if you have, questions, recommendations. Staff has been working really hard to put together advantages and disadvantages of the 3 different concepts to share. And we haven't received the rough order of magnitude cost yet, so we're anxiously awaiting that. Anxiously and nervously because of inflation and costs on the rise. So that's the kind of the biggest piece that we're still waiting for. And then, like I said, we'll get some information in your packet for next time and have the consultants come. So moving along. And then just big picture. And for the benefit of new board members, construction is expected to begin in 2027 in order to stay eligible for the Public Facilities District funding, which would be used to do the project. So things are
What's
happening.
going in on the other corner?
Things are happening.
Is that apartments? Is that, what's going in the
It's
housing?
housing.
It's housing? Not apartment.
I don't know if it's, I just know it's housing. I don't know if it's gonna incorporate both apartments and housing, but it's gonna be a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that intersection is gonna be.
Not a
I
mushroom.
think it's single residence.
I thought
No
it was,
mushroom
I
mushroom.
thought it was single.
Single- I think it's single
Well, It's still gonna be a lot of bodies.
It's a lot of park users, huh?
It's a big space.
It is a big space.
Just being, nothing, mushrooms being grown there for how many years? Good environmental evaluation.
Yep. So then in Lacey Museum news and related happenings, our museum curator Quinn Balcho will be giving the Lacey Museum Annual Report and celebration of May being History Month at the upcoming city council meeting on May 20th. This will include the Ken Balsley Historian of the Year presentation, so that's kind of exciting. And then the following week at the May 27th City Council Work Session, myself and the members of the board of the Lacey Community Foundation will be on the agenda to report out on the work that they've been doing over the past year. And so they've been working on a 5-year fundraising plan and associated communications plan. The fundraising plan will indicate opportunities to help offset the cost of Lacey Parks programs and projects. For example, the new museum and cultural center, but also other Lacey civic projects or initiatives. For example, fundraiser for the Veteran Services Hub would be another example of something that's non-parks, but City of Lacey related. So the Lacey Community Foundation, if you're not aware, it's a new foundation in its infancy, and their mission is to focus solely on Lacey quality of life and support city projects. So that's happening on the 27th. The RAC kiosk dedication, Senior Parks Planner Jenny Wilson, City Manager Rick Walk, and I attended March 8th. So we also haven't had a meeting since then. It's a lot happening. It was just a beautiful, heartfelt ceremony.
It was really nice.
Commissioner Davies can share too.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very nice. I really liked the stories from the tribe. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. Encourage you to go take a look at it the next time you're at the RAC, or make a special trip if you want to, but it really is amazing. It's been a project that's been several years in the making. But we wanted to thank the Lacey Historical Commission and Museum Curator for all their work. And also working with the County Commission. And then our staff too, Jeanette Sealer, Special Events Supervisor, Erica Scott Small, our Special Events Coordinator. They put it together, and of course Jenny worked behind the scenes with the county commissioners for the project side of it, you know, and getting it in the ground and all those types of things. And then Erin Quinn Valcho did a ton of work on the panels along with Thurston County staff. So it was a huge regional lift, and just want to acknowledge that and kind of celebrate that a little bit, so.
They're really nice. I mean, it's so professional. It's just, it's
That's
great.
nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And it's always amazing to me, you say something like a kiosk at the park, and it sounds really simple, but it was literally years in the making, and a lot of research went into it. And you know, of course, there's the funding piece and then the project side of it. So anyway, great culmination of things and a nice amenity at our park. So I think this is the last one. Yes, Arbors Park. So the Arbors Park agreement is actually on your work plan. And so I wanted to give you a heads up that we've been working very closely with the Meadow Lake Homeowners Association. They're also known as the Arbors at Long Lake HOA. And so we are looking to renew a park lease and maintenance agreement. It's been in place for 25 years. This is the only one of its kind in our park system, so it's definitely an anomaly. So the city owns the property, the park property, and the HOA maintains it. And it's been a really great partnership, because as you know, funds are sometimes challenging with general fund dollars for maintenance and operations. And so it's been great to have the help in keeping up the park. They actually originally installed the playground that's there. And so it is a park that's open to the public, just like all of our other parks. And, but it's a different type of a scenario. And so I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of background, but we'll be bringing it to you hopefully at the June meeting. And we'll have a staff report that kind of, gives you more background and the process that we've followed and the changes that are recommended. But yeah, this is obviously not something that comes up very often.
Where is it?
Every 25 years.
Like Apple, Donald Road, or.
Meadow Lake, what is the address? Oh, I don't have it off the top of my head, I'm sorry. We'll bring it to you. Just Google Arbors Park, we can pull it up if you want. Let's say 41st.
It's on Arbor Drive southeast.
If possible, could you send the agreement out a little earlier than like 3 days before our meeting. I'm only curious because like you said, this is brand new. I definitely want to see what the liability and insurance is gonna be. Replacement costs for the equipment, how they're gonna do maintenance, how they're gonna subcontract out for the maintenance of the on-site.
Yeah,
facilities.
so we
It's just this little tiny. little-
we can try to get the packet out earlier, but
10 days before the meeting. is when we sent it.
10 days. Yeah, it's quite a big packet with all of the rec phase 3 stuff too.
Okay.
So yeah, 10 days, but so just to give you kind of a little bit of a sneak peek, we essentially it's a little more simple than that. It's basically, we ask them to maintain the property at all times in a manner which maintains safety, promotes usefulness, et cetera. So there are some of the things we've been working on are, you know, improvements, getting approval and stuff like that, but it's not,
Yeah, see,
it's not an extensive contract.
I gotta go check that out.
Yeah.
Ride my bike over there, ride my bike over there. I've never heard of it. Yeah, it's a pretty.
But yeah,
I just
just for
kids
today.
falling, breaking their arms, suing the city.
Well, so
It wouldn't be in the old agreement.
essentially, well, they do have to provide insurance with the city named as additionally insured. Yeah, and our legal team is reviewing it as well, so. But we just basically wanted to give you a heads up since it's on the work plan. And yeah, it is something just a little bit different than what we're used to seeing, and so.
One of the additions to this new lease is that our maintenance team will be doing quarterly playground inspections at this park, the same as they do for all the parks. And there's language in the draft lease that says, just like any of our parks, if anything was reported in that inspection,
Fix it.
they would have to fix
Close
it
it.
in
Okay.
accordance.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Carter's been super helpful in putting this together and working with HOA, so.
What HOA would want to take on that
I don't
responsibility?
know.
I'm
Who would
telling you,
wanna
I'm
do
the
it?
president of my HOA and we wouldn't want to take on that responsibility.
They, no way. You know, we both really value the partnership. And they've invested quite a bit for the last 25 years and, you know, are super interested in making sure that it's remains a park property and so.
Yeah.
So anyway, we just wanted to give you a heads up, that's coming in, that's all, I'll stop. It's a lot.
Thank you, and
A lot going on.
Yeah,
that's the
for
end of the
sure.
meeting, so we can adjourn. At 6:57 and 38 seconds. Thank you everyone for coming.
We're in a tight ship, Aaron.